Can you feel your liver? This question might sound strange or shocking or funny, but it's a true story. A martial arts master in China asked their student, and the student said no. And the master said, "Why? Did someone steal it from you?" He thought everyone could feel their liver, could feel inside their bodies. But the student, like most of us, didn't know that was possible, much less realize that it mattered. And why does it matter? It matters because as we learn to tune into our bodies and feel the body from the inside, we can learn to work with our energy or qi, also known as life force, in a way that helps us support its smooth flow. According to the Taoist philosophy, a clear, smooth, balanced flow of energy is the secret to a healthy body, mind, and spirit. My first encounter with energy practices happened at Lesley University through a workshop. I remember the energy of the professor and the experience of the workshop had a huge impact on me. I'd never considered learning Tai Chi or Qigong, but I felt really drawn to explore this. And I took a course called Mindful Movement, where I learned the Dragon and Tiger Qigong sequence. And through consistent practice, I experienced the deep healing benefits of it. It changed the biochemistry of my body. It helped me come back into my body in a way that felt like a homecoming. It helped me work with my stuff, unresolved trauma, in a very gentle and kind way, with patience, to help myself come more into balance, into flow, to feel a lightness in myself, in my being. And even though science doesn't talk about energy flow or the energy flow being stuck as one of the main reasons for illness and disease in the body, there is scientific evidence to prove the immense benefits of energy practices such as Tai Chi and Qigong. A reduction in stress and anxiety, less depression, improved mood, better, healthier coping skills, increased longevity. So in this video, I'd like to share a little bit about these practices, how they can help us connect with our body and work with our energy in a way that helps cultivate a deep sense of well-being and more aliveness in ourselves. But before I share a few points, I'd like to give an example about the different levels of body awareness to help us understand a bit more. And so let's take the example of a headache. All of us have experienced probably the discomfort of a headache. And a gross level of awareness would be the pounding that we feel in the head. A slightly more subtle level of awareness would be the tightening of muscles around the forehead and brow along with the headache. A slightly more subtle awareness would be of feelings, difficult feelings, uncomfortable feelings that arise alongside the headache. An even more subtle awareness would be of the tightness in the neck and shoulders that comes with the headache. A still more subtle awareness would be related to the blockage of circulation of blood and fluids in the body that happens with the headache. And an even more subtle awareness is that of the energy being stuck somewhere as we experience the headache. And so energy practices help us cultivate a subtle yet focused and concentrated attention in a gentle way that helps us tune into the subtler layers of our body so that we can learn to work with our energy in a way that helps us feel well. So let's come to the first point, qigong. Qigong is a thousands of year old practice founded on the Taoist philosophy, which speaks about the universal laws of balance and harmony. And it says that by cultivating an inner balance, we attune ourselves and come into alignment with the universe, with life. So, how can we cultivate that inner balance? There are practices such as qigong, which through gentle and intentional mindful movement help us work with our energy, cultivate body awareness, and cultivate a smooth and balanced flow of energy, also by sensing into the areas where the energy is stuck and getting that unresolved energy of trauma unstuck and moving in a way that allows them to reintegrate and brings the body back into balance. The second point, Dragon and Tiger Qigong specifically, is based on the acupuncture model of Chinese medicine, and it's known as a self-healing exercise. So it entails using one's hands and arms along with simple body movements to trace channels of external ethereal energy in a way that unblocks and stimulates the internal energy channels so that energy can flow smoothly. It has 7 movements, especially known to facilitate the unblocking of stagnant physical, emotional, and psychic energy. Unbalanced energy can cause dysregulation of emotions, can cause agitation and distress. A smooth flow of energy in one aspect influences and smoothens the flow of energy in another aspect, thereby creating an overall sense of balance and ease. The third point, and this one's my favorite. So the guidelines that are offered in this practice really go against the grain of our conditioning to strive, to power our way through, to suck it up and get it done. For example, the guidelines are: be gentle with yourself, be comfortable at all times, just do it poorly or properly. Who says that these days? And then there's something called the 70% principle. So the effort that we put into the practice, we are invited to put an effort that is not 100%. It's not tight, too tight, nor too loose. The 70% principle is considered to be the optimum effort that can work wisely with resistance that is bound to come up as we work with our bodies. So all of these guidelines really invite the practitioner to set an intention to infuse their attention with a gentle attitude as we focus attention on the body, so that subtle and gentle attention can permeate the body, the layers of the body, tune into the subtle field of awareness and energy, and work with it in a way that feels healing. So to wrap it up, energy practices such as qigong and tai chi can help us connect to our body, help us cultivate the ability to feel our bodies more fully from the outside, from the inside, tune into the subtle awareness of the body, subtle sensations of the body, learn to work with the energy of the body, get stuck energy unstuck and moving in a way that can contribute towards deep healing and a deep sense of wellness and ease and aliveness and lightness. I can go on, but I'll pause and end with a quote by Nigel Mills. He writes, "Qigong is a way of being soft yet strong. Qigong is a way of breathing deeply yet calmly. Qigong is a way of standing, alert yet relaxed. Thank you for your kind attention. Hello, friends. Let's practice together for a few minutes. Before we start our practice, I'll say just a few things about the posture. So, standing with feet hip distance apart, knees soft, not locked, shoulders relaxed, chest open, head engaged with the body. So, not looking up, not looking down. You can kind of sense the back of your neck where it feels engaged with the body. And one little thing, so your pelvis won't be like this. It'll be slightly tilted backwards, very slight tilt, like you're sitting on a high chair, just perching on a high chair. And then in this position, what we do is, it's called the 2-year-old bounce. So thinking of 2-year-old children, wherever you see them, at a function, in the garden, in the zoo, at parks, the way they go, moving their bodies as if there's jelly inside. So it's called the 2-year-old bounce, and it really helps release tension in the body. You can do this when you wake up in the morning or before you go to sleep at night or anytime through the day. And then something that I've kind of brought into this two-year-old bounce is the mindful lip roll. And it goes like this. And this mindful lip roll, and I call it mindful because we're really paying attention to the lips and the sensation of release that goes like a wave through the body. It's such a simple practice, but within a few seconds, you can notice the body relax and release. So if you do this just a few times, whenever you remember through the day, it kind of resets your body, resets your inner compass, recenters you. Okay, now let's get to a couple of movements. Very simple, but very powerful. Don't let the simplicity of these movements fool you. Very powerful if done consistently with a gentle effort. So, and then breathing. So let me breathing in as we take the palms up, and then breathing out. You might want to bend the knees as you breathe out. Breathing in again, gathering the energy of the earth and the skies, the heavens, and receiving it, inviting it to settle in your body. One more time. Opening your heart to receiving the energy of the earth and the heavens, and then inviting it to really settle into your body and mind. Now we are going reverse, so scooping up the energy of the earth, offering it to the heart, to the whole body, and then sending it out into the world. And here you can choose a word that resonates. So scooping up the energy of compassion And then offering it to ourselves and sending it out into the world. Scooping up the energy of groundedness. Inhale. Pour it on you and then offer it out. Exhale into the world. Let's do another one. And I love hugging trees, and this one has to do with trees. So it's like a tree moving, swaying from side to side. So we inhale, bring our palms facing each other, and then we sway. Breathe out, come back, inhale out without straining or striving. All the while keeping in mind the gentleness of the practice, the gentleness of our attention and attitude. Thank you for practicing along. Hello, Zahra.
Hello. Hi. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched your video of qigong,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so lovely to see. So it brought up some very peaceful feelings in me.
Mm-hmm.
How does doing that practice make you feel?
Thank you for seeing the video, and I'm happy to hear that it brought up peaceful feelings in you. And I also actually enjoy seeing myself sometimes in the mirror as I'm practicing. I feel in flow is maybe one, if I had to say it in one word, I would say I feel in flow. My energy feels in flow. I feel in flow with life. And that sense of flow brings a sense of peace and joy. So, and that is how I feel now after having now practiced for how many years? 3 maybe? On and off, but pretty consistently. And it wasn't that way right from the beginning.
Okay.
And the teacher who taught us, I learned through the online course. His name is Ryan, and he kept saying that don't worry about not being able to feel the energy. You know? Simply feel into it. Try and feel into it. Feel whatever you're feeling. And try and feel into it. Now, what does that mean? To me, it means be open to it. Be open to whatever you're feeling, trusting, and paying attention to, okay, what am I feeling? And trusting that as the attention is refined, becomes more focused, we do begin to really feel the energy, which is so subtle and yet so palpable. Like right now, as I'm moving my hands, I can feel some energy, like a ball of energy. And sometimes that's the first step towards energy work, just rubbing our hands, and then, as we rub and then move out, there's perhaps some feeling here. So again, to just come back to your question, it feels wonderful, and I'm very grateful for being able to engage in a practice that feels so centering. Excuse me. It's water. Thank you.
How do you see that your practice has evolved over these 3 years that you've been doing it?
One way is the actual, how much more connected I feel with my body and with the practice itself. And my practice has deepened. And perhaps it's also because of other practices that I engage in, which are all
Yeah.
supporting each other. Thankfully, that's how it is. And so, if I were to think about how my practice has evolved, I would say it has come more alive and shows itself more in my life, in my relationships with myself, with others, with loved ones, with friends, with people I have a frictional relationship with, so it's a body practice which translates into a more loving and authentic way of living. So again, if I were to connect it back to the word flow that I brought up in the earlier question, in my life, in my relationships, I feel more in flow. I notice the resistance more. I'm able to allow it more, be a little more gentle with it. Not always, but it's a practice and it's a process. So, and there's a sense of trust. Again, that's another key word for me. A sense of safety inside me, a sense of trust that continues to deepen with the practice. And to me, I'm still amazed and in awe of how a body practice, can be so spiritual, can be so can support emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, can support clarity of mind. So yeah.
If somebody was a beginner to this practice and they wanted to,
Can you speak a little louder? Our viewers might not be able to hear your voice.
if someone was a beginner to this practice and they wanted to get into it, how would you guide them?
First of all, my heart would go, yay! Because it is sometimes that way, right? Something that has been so transformational for us. We can't help but become a walking, talking advertisement for it. And we want people to experience that. And it really also, other people's similar experiences also validates our own. So yeah, I would be happy. And I would try to encourage them, maybe offer certain phrases which I've heard, which have encouraged me, like being gentle with ourselves, just doing it poorly or properly, and consistency, gentle and consistent effort. So reaffirming our intention, trusting the sincerity of it, and following that up with gentle and consistent effort. Consistent, again, is a key word here. And practically speaking, there are thousands, literally, videos available online. It's a little difficult to sift between what's more authentic and what's not so much. But there are some pretty good videos available with simple movement practices, like what's coming up for me right now. I'm remembering the 10 mindful movements by Thich Nhat Hanh, which I saw just a few months ago, and something about the simplicity yet profundity of those movements really struck me and touched me. So maybe starting off with something like that, or enrolling in an online course, or finding a teacher. Nothing like physical, actual presence of a teacher to support energetically and to guide. And sometimes being in a group also helps very much. So exploring what's available and then balancing that with what's possible for every individual, considering how their life is. And then again, coming back to this gentle, consistent effort. To be open, to see the times when we as human beings, we get fixated on wanting a certain experience or wanting to have it be a certain way. So really, this practice is so much about letting it be, just going with the movements and seeing how it is and trusting. So I'm not very sure if I answered your query, but I'm also a novice. I will perhaps someday train to be a qigong teacher. I would really like to, but because I am so committed to the practice, I can speak with some. I don't want to say authority, but with again with
Maybe experience is the word.
yes,
you're looking for?
from one of my mindfulness teachers actually uses this phrase, speaking from the authority of our own experience. So speaking from that space of deep knowing, and again encouraging whoever wants to explore this to really make some gentle effort to explore the practice.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're very welcome. And I would like to ask you, you have also, since I know this, explored the practice. I'm not sure if you're continuing to explore it, but I would love to hear from you about what your experience has been in whatever way you've explored it. And again, a gentle reminder to speak a little loudly.
So this is a practice I haven't been very consistent with. So I think if I did it in that way, then it would be a different experience for me. But from what I have practiced, for me, the energy flow has been something that I really enjoy. So just that palpable feeling.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like discovering a secret and wanting to share it because it's so available to everyone if we do invest some time and energy. Do you intend to sometime in the future continue?
Absolutely.
I would really wholeheartedly encourage you to. Maybe we can practice sometime together. Thank you for your time.